By fairest blood it was done, and only by fairest blood can it be undone. So says Charlize Theron's Queen Ravenna from Snow White and the Huntsman. You don't even realize how lucky you are never to know what it is to grow old, says she before she strikes, or attempts to, but her plot is foiled by the huntsman and the prince, or the duke's son, William, who come upon the scene and find her about to murder Snow White, whom she has poisoned with the apple of magic. So, it's story time. Queen Ravenna is one of my favorite characters from, not mythology, but fairy tales, from story, from lore, from legend. And ever since I saw the 2012 film Snow White and the Huntsman, I've been just a little bit obsessed with her character. It's definitely nothing healthy, nothing wholesome, but you must forgive me this. No one's perfect, right? Perfect. No. So I have several things I want to show you from my collection that have to do with Snow White and the Huntsman, with a focus on Queen Ravenna. And first, it is a steel book. Ooh, very shiny, very metallic and hard. Look at the lovely cover. You can see that. It has one red apple glowing from the tree. Looks like the tree of life, the tree of purity, or something like that. Snow White and the Huntsman. And then on the back side, sorry for that. That was awkward. It's got an image of Queen Ravenna at the center with Snow White and the Huntsman up above, and then countless ravens flocking all about. Very dramatic fashion. And you may not believe this, but I found this lovely in the bargain bin at one of the places where I work. I keep talking about that. I have 3 jobs, okay? And one of them is at a media store, a music and movie store. And this was in the bargain bin for like $5. That's crazy. That was a steal. Let me open this up. Secrets. I have to take this away. But inside we have the discs themselves. Golden, lovely. There's the main picture disc, the theatrical Blu-ray, and then there's a DVD disc and some bonus features as well. So next, I would like to show you, this is in no particular order by the way, the novel of Snow White and the Huntsman Let's hear those pages. So, it says on the back here, she is destined. Either the queen will kill her, or the huntsman will transform her into a warrior. And it reads also, 10 years ago, the stunning and vengeful Queen Ravenna murdered her king the same fateful night she married him, but controlling the now desolate kingdom has begun to take its toll on the evil queen. To keep her magic and beauty from dying, she must consume a heart that is pure, and the only one that has been under her cruel watch all along belongs to the king's daughter. Ravenna calls for the imprisoned Snow White, but the young woman escapes from the castle and seeks refuge in the dark forest. Because the forest is enchanted with magical flora and deadly fauna, the queen sends for the only man who has ventured into the woods and survived, a tortured huntsman called Eric. With his hope long forsaken, the huntsman agrees to bring back the girl. But when Eric finds his prey, he hesitates. Who or will he kill her? Or will he train her to become the greatest warrior the kingdom has ever known? In this breathtaking new vision of the legendary tale, Snow White must find her own happy ending. And that's summer of 2012. It was a good read. Trust me on that one. I'm trying to move along quickly though because there are several things I want to show you. Okay, next is the soundtrack album, compact disc, to Snow White and the Huntsman. Music by James Newton Howard. Wonderful musician, composer, artist. And so it's got several wonderful tracks on it, but I'd like to call attention to a couple. One is number 12. It's called Gone, which is performed by Joanna Giga, who happens to be part of a band called Io Echo. Io Echo is wonderful and great. If you haven't listened to their music, you should go find them out. There's a few tracks I could recommend to you. The first that comes to mind is called Shanghai Girls. Shanghai, Shanghai, Shanghai. Tonight I will hold you in my arms again. Yes, that's Shanghai Girls. That's a line from it. You're welcome. And then there's another one. It's called Forget Me Not. I think that's my favorite, actually. Forget Me Not. Oh, how does that one go? Ooh, I can hear it in my head. Give me a reason. Give me a tender sign. For when we say goodbye, forget me not. Forget me not. Ah, yes, that's the one. And then there's another one, Stalemate, which I love. Many wonderful tracks you can find from Io Echo. But the vocalist has a standout here on the soundtrack. It's called Gone. And then lastly, there is a track by Florence and the Machine, the wonderful, gorgeous, and wonderful Florence Welch and the Machine. So it's called Breath of Life. And that is the track that rounds out the soundtrack and provides the sort of like pop vocal support that most movies tend to have at least one of. It goes something like, I was searching for a breath of life, another taste of heavenly light, but all the choirs in my head said no. To get a dream of life again, another vision of sun in the air, but all the choirs in my head said no. Such a powerful song. Also, I may or may not have misinterpreted or sang some of those lyrics, so if you happen to check it and find that it doesn't quite match up, I'm sorry. But that's just the way I've always heard it. You know how you do that? You hear a song and you hear the way it is and you just sing it that way, and it doesn't really matter how it actually was written. That's the way you heard it, and that's the way that it sticks in your head, you know? That's music for you. So, next, actually first, I should take a sip of my drink. Let me get my goblet here. For all you mouth and throat and drinking sound aficionados, there you go. I'll take another sip. That's good. Okay. The next item I want to show you is a picture. It's a picture I found online, and it's of Queen Ravenna. Here we go. This is definitely not an original, but it is a reprint or replication, a simulacra. I think I said that right. A simulation, maybe, of Charlize Theron's autograph on an image of her. You see the autograph up there. Excuse me. This is from The Huntsman, Winter's War. So the sequel / prequel to Snow White and the Huntsman. And we see Queen Ravenna here with her golden crown and her golden jewelry and her black dress and black fingernail polish and black claws and the ravens all around her. Ooh, this is wonderful. I love this picture. I used to have it hanging on my wall, but I had to take it down when I moved, so now I've just kind of kept it. It was in like a stack of papers and stuff I have, so one day maybe I'll hang it again. Next, and perhaps changing gears a little bit, I have a paper thin issue of Parade. Here we go. Get a little taste of how that paper sounds. It's nice. But on the cover we have Matthew McConaughey and Charlize Theron, and it says Back to School 2016. So this is a little bit dated, but I've kept it. I saved it. I loved it so much. And it reads, Why We Love Teachers. And the reason I saved this, the reason I love it so much is because I am a teacher. I teach part-time at a community college. So when I read the article, I took it to heart. So I'm going to read a little bit of that to you. Let's see here if I can find it. Okay. And they had been, Matthew and Charlize had been starring in this movie called Kubo and the Two Strings, which came out around the time this was published, so they were promoting the movie. It's a lovely movie, by the way. You should check that out. Kubo and the Two Strings. It's about family and friendship and strength in the face of adversity. Great stuff. So there's a particular moment when Charlize is talking about teachers that she had. Let's see. It says here, a spotlight on teachers. Both credit gifted teachers as the heart and soul of their respective foundations' work. So, charitable foundations. Reaching inner city kids here in the U.S. or their counterparts in South Africa takes finesse, says Theron. Even mixing a little monkey-like tough love with Beatles humor. Those are the characters from their movie, Kubo and the Two Strings. If you have the capability of bringing a few of those dynamics into a room, you're a very powerful teacher, she says. Great teachers, like great performers, know how to play to their audience, she goes on. She offers the example of 70-year-old white South African satirist and social activist Pieter Dirk Uys. I don't know if I said that right, I'm sorry. Whom she recruited to teach a sex ed class to a group of CTAOP, and that's an acronym that stands for Charlize Theron Africa Outreach Project. He taught a sex ed class to a group of those students. She goes on to say, he has a way to kind of tap in with adolescents and, ironically, black adolescents, being that he's white, that's the irony there. Says Theron. He won over the skeptical crowd with some props that included a sex toy and a banana. They were completely disarmed and hearing everything from that moment on. That kind of unconventional approach makes teachers effective and memorable, Theron says. I think sometimes teachers come in completely surprising packages. The teachers that I really connected with were so odd. That's a real talent and a real skill. We don't appreciate teaching as we really should. So, when I read that, I really took that to heart. It made me feel nice and warm and cozy on the inside because really, obviously, here I am making ASMR videos. I'm a little bit odd. I'm a little bit different. And the fact that I'm also a teacher, well, sometimes I can struggle with trying to reconcile the different sides of my personality, and I would like to think that in the classroom, my being a little bit odd or different makes me stand out to the students in a way that helps me reach them, helps me connect with them, helps them to feel even at ease or inspired to learn. And so I feel a little bit of pride about that, and I'm glad that I got to read that Charlize feels likewise. So that one goes out to Charlize Theron. That one goes out to all the teachers. That kiss goes out to all the ones who hope to inspire and instruct and educate their fellows, their brothers and sisters, and the people around them. We need you. Thank you. Oh my gosh, I need another sip of my drink. Getting a little emotional. By the way, do you like my ring? Can you see it? It was made for me by a wonderful artisan from Indonesia who goes by the handle Queen Metalworks. And I'll send a link. I'll include a link to his gallery and his website in the description below, somewhere below. It will be there for you. I'll help you get connected to him. But he was wonderful. When I asked him to make this ring for me, he did. He made it to my specifications. I sent him pictures of Queen Ravenna from The Huntsman, Winter's War. So thank you, Mark Queen Metalworks, for all that you do. Cheers to you, good sir. Okay, but moving on. So I then have this is the gold edition of the DVD of Snow White and the Huntsman, which includes the extended and theatrical versions. The backside includes a pretty lovely image there. I love that Charlize Theron as Queen Ravenna with the raven, like, as part of her face. I thought that's really neat. It includes several bonus features, including commentary with the director, visual effects supervisor, and co-editor. The visual effects supervisor, by the way, Cedric Nicholas Troyan, would go on to direct the sequel/prequel Snow White and the Huntsman, which I'll show you now. So here it is. Excuse me. The Huntsman, Winter's War. The story before Snow White. This is the extended edition, starring Chris Hemsworth, Charlize Theron, Emily Blunt, and Jessica Chastain. It includes some bonus features as well. Deleted scenes, commentary, a gag reel, Love Conquers All, a behind the scenes with the cast, director's commentary with Cedric Nicholas Troyan. And I remember when this was coming out, there was a teaser trailer that started with Queen Ravenna's voice, and she says, "If it's the fairy tale you're looking for, then prepare yourself for so much more." I love that. That was great. And certainly I got very excited for the movie. I followed the hype. I watched it on Instagram and Twitter as the filmmakers teased little bits and pieces and photos from the film. And then I went and saw it by myself, and I saw it with some friends, like multiple times I saw it, and I was blown away. I thought it was beautiful and gorgeous and everything a fairy tale movie should be. Queen Ravenna as the evil queen was back. She had returned despite seemingly dying in the first film, and Charlize Theron just does so well in that role, and she comes back. I have actually a magazine that I could show you featuring her and Emily Blunt on the cover. So this is a fantasy issue of Film Magazine. I found this online too. Found it on eBay because I didn't even know it existed at the time, but it says The Huntsman, Winter's War, on-set exclusive, Throne and Blunt, Stone Cold Witches. And so inside, let's see. Here those pages. No, that's about Game of Thrones, not the right kingdom. Let's go. A pages over. No. Pan's Labyrinth? No. David Bowie, A Life on Film? Interesting. No. Gosh, I forget which pages it's on. I'm sorry. Let's see. I think I skipped it. Hold on. Let me come back. Ah, there we go. I think I saw it. Fantasy Special. Swords, sorcery, witchcraft, wizardry, total film, braves orcs, apes, and all manner of fantastic beasts to celebrate pure escapism as we round up the magical epics heading your way. Okay, that's the beginning. Then it reads Dancing on Ice, The Huntsman, Winter's War. And there's a wonderful setup here, photo. And that's the director, Cedric Nicholas Troyan, and then Emily Blunt and Charlize Theron as the evil queens. Well, the evil queen and the winter queen, the snow queen, the ice queen. That's Emily Blunt's character. Let's see, what can we say here? There's a wonderful picture I want to show you. That's Queen Ravenna with Emily Blunt's character, Freya, the Ice Queen. So Freya and Queen Ravenna, they're together, they're sisters. Looks like Queen Ravenna is comforting Freya, but if you've seen the movie, you know she's not exactly comforting, not the comforting type. She's always got a motive. She's a little creepy like that. There's got to be a good quote in here somewhere. It says here, Throne admits Jackson, that's her son, is not a fan of his mother playing the evil queen. He does not like Ravenna. He was convinced that Emily Blunt's character was Elsa from Frozen because she looks like the Frozen character. So he was so in love with her. On the days I had to sit on her throne, he would come up to me and tell me to get out of Elsa's throne. So Emily was really relishing in that too, using it against me every single day. At one point, he just looked at the monitor and I was screaming or something, and he just went, "Mama, spicy." That's adorable. Alright, so that's the magazine. And then, just a couple things left. I have the soundtrack album. It's a compact disc again. To The Huntsman, Winter's War. You see there the images on the cover. And then on the back are the tracks, and it starts with The Huntsman, which is a wonderful scene. That the music from that track, it's the opening, the intro, where Queen Ravenna is playing chess against a king, just some random king, and she seems very relaxed and reposed, and she's definitely feeling herself. She's very at ease and confident that she's about to take control of the situation, and she makes a move and the king scoffs and says, "A mere pawn?" She just looks at him and goes, "A humble pawn can bring down a kingdom." And he's like, Alright, we'll see. And then he makes a move. And then she, I believe if I remember the scene correctly, starts to taunt him with her foot. She's got her bare feet under the table. She's like playing footsie kind of thing, which I guess is kind of a cheap move, but she could do that. And of course, he falls for it. He laughs and says, "Oh, stop distracting me." And she just laughs and then continues the game. He takes a piece of hers, in his move, as he was checking out things after she had made her move. It's chess, piece takes piece, that sort of a thing. But it's a game of strategy. And she looks at him and goes, "Oh, mean old king. So sad." But the final say, well, Queen shall have that. And then she gets serious. She goes and she picks up her piece, which is the queen, and she makes her move, and it's checkmate. Oh my goodness. And then the ominous music starts. She sets her finger on his king, and it's her, of course, her like creepy claw, her claw ring. This is not exactly the same, but close enough. Close enough. It's a raven skull ring. Silver. No, pewter. No, silver and pewter. I don't know. In any event, she places her clawed finger upon the king chess piece, and then blood starts to seep from underneath it, and the real king, the living king, starts to seize up in pain, as if he's dying of a heart attack. And sure enough, as the blood from the piece continues to flood the game board, he falls over dead. And Ravenna says,